Chamber of Commerce, KWIQ Radio, and Columbia Basin Parallel. Everybody hear me okay? Dougie? Dougie, can you hear me okay? Doug, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right. That's a little hard of hearing, folks. It's okay. Would everyone please stand and join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight we will conduct our traditional candidates forum. We will not be doing live audience questions this evening. We will be allowing the candidates to give closing remarks instead. And we will to allow a few minutes. Hi, Rob. A few minutes for you to speak to candidates one-on-one at the conclusion of the forum. Forum rules. This is a forum, not a debate. Candidates, this is your opportunity to express your views and opinions in the time allotted. We will not repeat questions unless a candidate asks for it, then we will repeat it one time. There will not be time allowed for rebuttals after the candidate addresses a question. The same timekeeping system will be used for all speakers. I'll explain that in a moment. The program will be divided into 3 parts. In the first part, each candidate will have 2 minutes to speak on background, credentials, or any subject he or she chooses. In the second part, we will ask some questions prepared by our sponsors of this forum. All candidates in each race will be given the opportunity to answer those same questions, just not in the same order. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. The order in which the candidates speak will be different for each question. In the third part of the program, we will allow for closing remarks by each candidate, again limited to 2 minutes. When we say 2 minutes, we really mean 2 minutes. To help us keep track of time, we have Sydney Martinez in front, who's Debbie Doran Martinez tonight, and Denise Forba, also with the chamber. The speakers will be able to see a colored folder on the table, or at Sid's hand. The folders will be displayed much like a traffic light. The green folder will be displayed when the candidate starts speaking. The yellow folder will be displayed when the remaining time reaches 30 seconds. The red folder will be displayed when the time has run out, and you'll also hear a chime. If you don't stop speaking at that time, we're going to have a very rough discussion. If the speaker is not, I covered that. Let me introduce you to the evening's candidates. This is not your speaking time, this is just a quick wave and introduction. Amador Castro for Grant County Commissioner District 1. Also for Grant County Commissioner District 1, Kevin Burgess.
Present.
Grant County Commissioner District 2, Rob Jones.
Hello.
Grant County PUD Commissioner Tom Flint.
Aye.
Grant County PUD Commissioner candidate Robert Allen. And I had also heard that Jared Sessler was going to be here this evening, but I haven't seen him yet. So, at this time, we'll begin with opening statements. Candidates, you have 2 minutes for your responses. We're going to start on this end of the table with Grant County Commissioner District 1 candidate Amador Castro. Your opening statement, you have 2 minutes.
All right. Hello, I'm Amador Castro. I'm a local business owner and an educator. I'm a teacher at Vanguard Academy. I've been going into my 15th year of teaching. Depending on how this election turns out, this might be my last year teaching because I committed to what I do. I'm a father. I raised 3 wonderful daughters. One of them will always be raising because she's special needs. Just a little bit about me. So I'm committed to everything that I do. My wife and I, when we took over the UPS store, it was one of those businesses that was a wonderful thing, but always went into the red every year, which is not a good thing. But we were committed to changing that aspect, and we have now got that business to end the years in the black for the last few years. And it was one of those things where, because of our commitment to what we do and what I do, during COVID, we didn't close down. We didn't lay anybody off, and we kept our employees employed the entire time. So everything that I do, I'm 100% committed to, and that's how I plan on going to this commissioner. There you go.
Thank you. Okay, Grant County Commissioner District Number 1 candidate Kevin Burgess, your opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be here today. I want to first thank the citizens of Grant County who voted me an overwhelmingly primary winner. I'd like to thank the Mosaic Othello Association of Realtors and the Grant County Association of Realtors for endorsing me. My values in business, family, God, our seniors and veterans are values that apply to helping everyone in our great county. For someone that is not a politician, I'm fortunate that my track record in life speaks for itself. I've been a self-employed business owner most of my life. I created from the ground up a tremendously successful commercial barista outlet. In 2022, I was voted the Realtor of the Year for the entire state of Washington. That's 23,000 members. As someone that has lived in this county his entire life, it's more than my home, it's my life. I've been involved with numerous community organizations and charitable organizations because it is who I am and what I stand for. I've gone to Olympia many times to stand loud and proud for your private property rights. I've spent the last 6 years working on the Grant County Fair Advisory Committee as it's part of who we are as Grant County citizens. I won the volunteer award from the Mosley Chamber in 2023. And lastly, when people ask me why I decided to run for this position, it's because I'm a believer in the statement of Thomas Jefferson. I did not only have an obligation, but a duty. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you tonight.
Thank you. Grant County Commissioner District Number 2, current Commissioner Rob Jones, your opening statement, please.
Hello, I'm Rob Jones, your current Grant County Commissioner. Along with serving the community, I'm a small business owner. My businesses range from the county fair to Main Street and include Smokenhagen, Aliki Hawaiian Shave Ice, CarQuest, Linex, Mac Daddy's, among others. I also own residential, multifamily, and commercial real estate, both in Moses Lake as well as in the county. This gives me a solid understanding and experience with property rights, development, building, and planning. In 2020, I was elected by your vote to be your voice. I promise to stay involved and accessible. Since then, I've continued to attend community events, listen to your concerns, and worked hard to ensure I'm always available. And this is exactly what I've done. As your commissioner, I've managed the county's $61.7 million budget, graduated from Washington County Development Institute, and continued my leadership education through the National Association of Counties. I also developed a position management review process to improve the county's operation. One of my biggest projects has been helping secure property for the new jail and visiting facilities in Florida to help shape our $150 million project. This is nearly double our current valuation in the county. I've served on MAC 911 Board and Finance Committee, Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, where we've planned and spent $600,000 road improvement project for the Gorge Amphitheater, benefiting both tourists and local residents. Homeless Task Force is an ongoing effort. I recently attended the Housing Washington Conference, where I contributed common sense ideas for our future housing in Grant County. Solid Waste Advisory Committee, where we're working on creating a plan for our future garbage needs. Legislative Steering Committee, where I'm a strong voice for our county at the state level. Conservation District, assisting working towards cleaning our lake and water and expanding our canal projects.
That's your time, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
Okay, because Mr. Henderson apparently has COVID and is told not to come tonight. I have an opening statement for him that I'll read. Ladies, would you please time me the same way? It's kind of long, and if I don't get through it, so it's going to be, okay? So, here we go. I'm Dave Henderson. I'm running for Grant County Commissioner because I believe in the potential of our community and its people. As a proud conservative Republican, I've called Grant County home for over 57 years. I've worked hard, paid taxes, and built a life here with my wife of 37 years. We've raised 3 wonderful children who have all been involved in local, and now I'm blessed with 10 amazing grandchildren. Currently, I serve as the branch manager for CO Energy, one of the largest fuel and lubricant marketers in the Northwest. In my career, I've established strong working relationships with most of the aggregate communities, industries, farms, trucking companies, and food processors, as well as various government agencies throughout the Columbia Basin. My background in leadership, strategic planning, problem solving, and business development has given me the skills and insights necessary to understand the needs of our county and its residents. My vision for Grant County is to bring unity, integrity, and accountability back to local government. I will lead with a common sense, non-biased approach that considers the well-being of every resident. I am committed to listening to the voices of the people, working alongside other commissioners, agencies, and the state to develop comprehensive plans that address the key issues we face. From economic growth and job creation to affordable housing and infrastructure improvements, I will dedicate my time and effort to ensuring that Grant County thrives. I have a proven track record of leadership and success in every project I've been part of. Building strong and trustworthy relationships within the community has always been at the forefront of my approach. I pride myself on communication skills, my willingness to listen to what other people have to say. Your concerns matter, and I'm ready to address them head on. I stand for integrity, honesty, and ethical behavior. I'm fully committed to being engaged with our community, approachable to all, and empathetic to every individual's concerns. My promise is to bring positive change to Grant County, making it an even better place for us to all live and prosper. I would be honored to earn your vote and trust in this journey to unify and strengthen our county. Together we can achieve great things for Grant County's future. Innovation, looks like I'm cut off. Okay, we're gonna go back to our regular script at this point. We are going to go on to Grant County PD Commissioner candidate, actually, Sitting Commissioner Tom Flint. Mr. Flint, your opening statement, please.
Thank you, Alan. It's an honor to be here this evening, and I think it's important to understand how Grant County PUD got to be here. And in 1937, it was the farmers and ranchers that put together a vote of the people of Grant County, and they were successful. 2/3 of the county voted for the PUD, and 1/3 of them didn't. And motivation for doing that was, at that time, the only folks that were getting electricity were folks that were in the large populated areas, and the farmers and ranchers were kind of left out of the whole picture of getting electricity. So it was the Grange that got together and put it all together, and the people of Grant County wanted to be in control of their own destiny, and that's why we have 2 dams, Priest Rapids and the Wampum dams, that they supported and financed, and have been the powerhouse, the economic engine of Grant County ever since, and still is. My family came here in 1954 from Nebraska, where we were farmers, and I'm a 5th generation farmer. I'm a 2nd generation farmer to the Columbia Basin, and we farm near Dodson Road, and with my family. We have a family farm with my wife, Kathy, and we have 9 children, and that's going quite well. I graduated from Ephrata in 1968 from high school, and then went on to Central Washington University and got a Bachelor of Science degree in electronic technology.
That's your time, Mr. Flint. Thank you very much. Okay, Grant County PD Commissioner candidate Robert Allen. Mr. Allen, you have 2 minutes.
I'm Robert Allen. I'm a Desert Storm veteran of the Marine Corps. I'm a union electrician. I've been working these data centers for the last 20 years. This why I'm running for PUD is because to rebuild the infrastructure on the level of that the farmers did, and got everything set up for the economic prosperity here is what we're trying to do now. We need another visionary jump in power generation and transmission, so that Grant County can keep living wage jobs here. We have battery plants in Moses Lake going in. We have more data centers. We have all kinds of industry coming to Moses Lake. The only holdback is how much power do we have to give. And I'm looking to make a long-term plan to address all those things and into the future, right? So so that Grant County can continue to prosper like it has since the dams were built. So we can build some more things, small modular reactors, things to bring power to the region, and continue the prosperity here. I mean, look at Quincy. They have a beautiful high school there. 20 years ago, it was a dirt patch when I got here and started working in these data centers, and which is fine, but it's, they have a beautiful high school, they have a water park, and all that comes from, real property taxes from some of the data centers, but all the new housing that's built. And we just have a huge opportunity for the people of Grant County.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to, again, we're gonna go a little bit out of script here because we don't have 4 candidates, so we're gonna just pick on the Grant County Commissioner candidates for the moment. We're gonna start with Kevin Burgess. Mr. Burgess, citizens are concerned about the homeless situation and its impact on private property. What will you do to improve the homeless situation and protect taxpayer rights? 2 minutes, sir.
So that's a tall order. I think we need to get a group together and figure out a solution. I think it starts with drugs being in our community that shouldn't be here. I think we need to have better law enforcement to address that issue. You've got guys out here that are shooting up in the backyard of our police department. I think that's a big problem. I think that getting together with our police departments, the sheriff's department, and figuring out ways that we can combat this issue is number one. Number two, we need to start talking to the private property owners that are in the area that these people are living in, and figure out a way for them to either allow the police department to go onto their property and remove them, and not let them come back. And we need to figure out a solution for where they can go to get help and resources.
Thank you, sir. Amador Castro, what are your thoughts on the continued diversified growth of Grant County? Please explain.
The continued diversified growth, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Like, are you?
I just read the questions.
Okay.
I'll read the flow one more time. What are your thoughts on the continued diversified growth of Grant County?
I mean, Grant County needs to grow. That's one of the things that I said when I was interviewed by the Conservation Herald, was a stagnant county is a dying county. So we need to grow. We need to bring in different industries so the students, like the people, the upcoming workforce, can find the jobs that they need to sustain and live here and plant roots here. One of the things that I've constantly dealt with the students that I graduated is they feel like they have to leave all the time, and because there's no opportunity here. But we have plenty of opportunity as we're bringing in more industry and growing our county. There is a lot of opportunity, but I don't think that people understand what is actually here. So I think we need to get that out there more and help people know that there is a lot of opportunity here, and having those people work and develop and stay here and have families is going to help Grant County grow.
Thank you, sir. Rob Jones, what are your thoughts on bringing back the work release program, and in your opinion, is it effective or not?
I love the idea of bringing back work release program. However, the last 2 sheriffs haven't supported that program coming back as of yet. It gives an alternate way for people to serve their time. It's more effective. We have 8,000 warrants out that need to be served right now, rather than waiting for a new jail and additional jail space. Those low-level offenses could be easily served with the work release building. But however, right now, there is not a plan of opening that up.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go next question back to Mr. Burgess. There's a continued perception of a lack of collaboration between the county and the municipalities. How would you go about changing this perception and or the reality?
Start having meetings with cities and the county. Get us all together at one table. I think it's important. If we don't do that, if we can't do that, what good are we doing as commissioners? You know, the commissioners have to have an open door policy. We need to reach out to these cities, other cities, Moses Lake, Grant County, or Quincy, Mattawa, Coulee City. We need to have meetings with these people and ask them, what can we do as a commission in our county to help each other collaborate, to do a better job to serve our citizens? Right now, I don't feel that that's happening. And I may be wrong, but that's just not the way I see it.
Thank you. Amador Castro, with additional barriers to development of land in our state, such as shrub step and archaeological surveys, what can be done to speed up the permitting process?
I'm gonna have to ask you to repeat that again, sorry.
Okay. With additional barriers to develop raw ground in our state, such as shrub step and archaeological surveys, what can be done to speed up the permitting process?
The truth is, I don't know how long the permitting process is right now. I haven't had to deal with that, so I honestly can't speak on that. I can tell you that if, once I'm in office, then I will work to see how that process works and then see what I can do to help speed that up.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Rob Jones, tell us what you know about the landfill and how it will serve the citizens in the future.
So currently the landfill has about a 7 to 10 year life expectancy left. The Solid Waste Advisory Committee just a couple weeks ago voted to expand our landfill operation. So we had the options of doing transfer stations, landfill, or waste to energy. Obviously waste to energy requires a lot more tonnage than we are able to process at Grant County, so that wasn't feasible. It also has a operating yearly maintenance of around $7 million before you start having the crews and everything else. And the project itself is pushing $100 million. So the vote was to do the landfill. So currently we're looking to do a landfill expansion. There's a couple different properties that we're interested in, and we will be moving forward with those. That's where solid waste is at right now.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to go back to Kevin Burgess. What are your thoughts on the continued diversified growth of Grant County? Please explain.
I think it's important that we continue to develop. We have many new companies coming into the area. For instance, last week, I believe we just closed on 2 properties in Grant County for an auto recycling business out on the port property, which will bring additional jobs. You know, you got Simplot who's building a 450,000 square foot processing plant. That's upwards to 200 to 400 jobs. You got jobs that are coming into Group 14, or 400, 500 jobs. Sila, there's additional jobs. We need to work together with our public works, planning departments, and make sure that we're developing in the right direction. We have issues with water, power, and those are some of the things that we need to all get together in a room and discuss to figure out how we can come up with solutions for those problems.
Thank you. Amador Castro, citizens are concerned about the homeless situation and its impact on private property. What will you do to improve the homeless situation and protect taxpayer rights?
Well, it is a really big thing to talk about because it's happening all over the county. The homeless problem, we have to understand what has caused a lot of this. I think a big portion of that is the leniency of the laws in our state. So I think we would need to work with, our state representatives and our state senators, and to really push to have laws that are changed to where we can hold these people accountable for the things that they're doing, instead of having them, you know, arrested and released just to reoffend right away again. And then as, you know, when they are arrested, really push to see like what are the issues behind it? Is it a mental issue, and what kind of resources do we have to help them with that? Is it a drug rehab issue that we need to, you know, work with to get them somewhere so they could be off of drugs? You know, I'm not opposed to mandatory 90-day drug rehab for a lot of these offenders. So we need to figure out what is the root problem behind it and work with people involved with that to see what kind of resources we can put forth towards that.
Thank you. Rob Jones, how is the county doing with infrastructure to meet the needs of our anticipated growth? Please explain.
I would say overall, we're doing okay. Realistically, at Grant County, the struggle for us is that we don't play a major role inside of infrastructure as far as power, water. PUD handles the power and transmission. Your irrigation districts handle the water side. So it's kind of a tricky one. Grant County has no lack of business that wants to come here. Obviously, Commissioner Flint knows that by how much power is requested in the queue from them, from major steel manufacturers to data center expansion to Wheeler Road expansion with Route 14 and SELA and many others. But together we are working on this. This is something that we do meet about and try to work through. We just had a meeting similar that revolved around this. In Ephrata, we've already been doing them quarterly or a couple times a year, led by the Moses Lake Chamber and Moses Lake. We're also working with the Grant County Economic Development to have a countywide forum to really start planning together for our future. That's going to involve your taxing districts from your ports to your cities to the county, the PUD, all working together in a single area, like possibly this room, to keep developing how we can be better in the future with our infrastructure.
Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Burgess. With additional barriers to develop raw ground in our state, such as shrub step and archaeological surveys, what can be done to speed up the permitting process?
Deal with shrub step completely. You know, I'll read a little thing from one of the people at Grant County, basically saying shrub step sucks, and there's no shortcut or advantage to being a public agency for this. We are subject to all the same regulations as everyone else. I can only imagine what it must be like as a private owner or a developer. And I agree, it's nonsense. It's based because of rough grouse, which is, I don't know if any of you guys have seen a rough grouse in Moses Lake or Ephrata or Quincy. I've never seen one. They're down in the Cooley Meadows area. The little owls that they're talking about trying to protect, they're not here within this small area. So I don't understand why they're putting that type of restriction on this area in general. As far as the tribes and the archaeological, I understand, and that's necessary. There are people that go out and do those studies and can help facilitate that. You just have to find the right person. If there's something that the county can do, I think we have to get in the room with the game department and the state and figure it out. That's about all we can do.
Thank you. Commodore Castro, there's continued perception of a lack of collaboration between the county and the municipalities. How would you go about changing this perception and or reality?
Change the perception by actually holding meetings with each municipality and with the county. I'm a collaborator. I mean, that's one of the things as being a teacher we do well. So I love working with people. I have no problem with that. I love listening to people's issues and hearing like their ideas and stuff and coming up with, you know, the hard questions that need to be asked sometimes. So that's one of the things that I love doing, and that's the only way to really change perception is by doing the work and getting with all these other cities and stuff and going to their meetings, figuring out how we can work together and not causing barriers between the two entities, really working hard to make sure that we're building a bridge between both the county and the cities to show people that we can work together, we can put our differences aside, and we can understand where each person is coming from.
Thank you. Rob Jones, are all departments in the county receiving adequate funding to do their job effectively for the citizens of Grant County? Please explain.
Yes. I don't think there's a whole lot to explain. I guess I can't think of many times when we have a few county employees, department heads, other electeds in this room. I can't think of very many times that we haven't been able to provide what they need, whether it's more employees or at the fairgrounds. We've put, since we came in 11 million plus into the fairgrounds, we've added a lot of staff. 2 years ago, the big thing was corrections deputies weren't paid at a high enough rate. We increased their pay by 33% across the board. It was over $1 million increase to the budget. So I think overall that the board has been able to give to the department heads and the offices and the other electeds what they need to do their job because of the increased growth. All of our projected sales tax revenues are always higher. They're much, much higher, 4 years ahead when you're doing the comparisons at 5%. So yeah, I think that everyone gets it. Do they want more? Of course. Everybody wants more, but I think we do really well with what we have, and I think everyone feels pretty well supported by the board.
Thank you. All right, at this point, we're going to move on to Grant County PD Commissioner candidates. Tom Flint, we're going to start with you. Currently, industrial users pay for vital infrastructure and power system that all users may benefit from. If our industrial users go away, how would that impact the rates for residential and ag users?
Well, it'd have a huge impact, and the industrials pay more than their cost of providing electricity. The reality of that comes as a benefit for the core users, which are the residents and the farmers and small businesses in Grant County. So essentially, the industrials pay somewhat more, and the core folks pay a little less. And so it will be a huge impact if we lost our industrial base.
Thank you. Robert Allen, what is your vision for new power generation to meet our future demands?
There's a lot of things that.
Could you get a little closer to the microphone?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, is it on? Okay. So there's a lot of things that are coming to light. Small modular reactors. There's some solar applications, and they don't really work that great without battery storage. You've got to build battery storage to make those things work. There's some other things in the works coming down the line, but it's all stuff that hasn't been proven all the way out, right? But there's a lot of good technology coming down the pipe that we need to get ahead of, so we have the opportunity to put those things in place in Grant County, and then build the transmission as well with those things.
Thank you. Tom Flint, what positive results will you deliver by the end of your term if reelected?
We'll finish the fiber project. I made a commitment to that in the year 2001 if everybody would have fiber in the county. So we're getting close to getting that done. The other commitments that I have is to keep everybody's rates as low as possible. A lot of folks don't understand that we're the 10th largest power generating public utility in the United States. That's a big deal. And our job is to keep our rates as low as possible and keep the infrastructure up to date and reliable, and that's our job. Our rates are the third lowest in the nation, and that's my commitment to keep it that way, and to keep our county growing. If our county is not growing, we're dying, and so we have to be proactive and progressive in our thinking, and I'm committed to do that.
Thank you. Robert Allen, do you feel the current PUD Board of Commissioners equally represents our county and is operating in a non-biased fashion?
Yeah, I do think that. I think, you know, there's a lot of people that have been on that
Could
board.
you get a little closer to the microphone, sir?
There's a lot of people that have been on that board for a very, very long time, and they've, you know, they've put a lot of service into making Grant County, PUD, a great place to work, a great asset for our community. And I think all the people on that board have a heart of service for, you know, Grant County, and that's what I'd like to bring as well, is service, serve the people of Grant County, and I think they've done that, and I think they've done a good job at it.
Okay, thank you. Tom Clint, what is your vision for new power generation to meet our future demands?
So, fortunately, hydro generation has been considered a renewable resource now. Previously, it was not. So, in the last 3 years, we're very fortunate. I'm a huge proponent of the small modular reactors, but the reality is that's 10 years away at best. And so, in the interim, I think combined cycle turbines, which are gas-fired, which can be built in 3 to 4 years, is a good stopgap to make that happen. And also, we can use those in those times when we have a huge heat wave or we have a Arctic front come through, where we're all relying on electricity either for air conditionings or for heaters. So it's a big deal to be able to meet those big weather events, and I think we can do it that way.
Okay, thank you. Robert Allen, currently industrial users pay for vital infrastructure in the power system that all users may benefit from. If our industrial users go away, how will that impact the rates for residential and ag users, in your opinion?
Well, it impact them. I mean, I don't think the industrial users are going away anytime soon, though. That's a, you know, it would definitely impact the rates. I mean, like Tom said, they pay like a 53% above what it costs to produce the power, and you know, residential and ag users get a discount on that. They're paying less than what it costs to produce the power. So that's, if that went away, it would surely change it. But I think we're going to continue to grow industrially, and the industrial use is just going to go up and up. And I think that's where we're at. We have to plan for that.
Thank you. Tom Flint, do you feel the current PUD Board of Commissioners equally represents our county and is operating in a non-biased fashion?
That's a really great question, actually, because I've been a PUD commissioner for the longest of anybody that's on the board, and the current commission is the best commission I've ever worked with. So I think we make decisions. Sometimes we don't always agree, but we move on from it and tackle other issues. So it's a good group, and I think it represents Grant County quite well.
Thank you. Robert Allen, what positive results will you deliver by the end of your term if elected?
Well, you know, I'd like to say, you know, I could make a long-term plan for the PUD. These gentlemen and the lady on the commission have been working at it for a long time, and they've been planning, you know, 10 years ahead at a time, and they've been keeping up. But, you know, and I don't know what the nuts and bolts of making a long-term plan are, right? But I know that's what I'll work towards doing if I get elected. And you know, I've always been a working person, and when there's work to be done, I roll up my sleeves and get it done. And that's what I like to bring to the commission, if I can do anything, is get a long-term plan in place, so we keep industry here, and our county grows, and everybody here prospers.
Thank you. Okay, you guys are moving right along much quicker than normal. So we're going to move into closing remarks, and then we'll have some time for candidate questions. Not you. I'm not gonna allow words. Yes, dear. Yeah. Mr. Sussman, sir, would you like to take your seat at the stage to do some closing remarks? We're not going to ask you any questions at this point, but. Okay, so we're still on 2 minutes, folks. So we're going to start with Kevin Burgess, closing statement. 2 minutes, sir.
Picking on me? So tonight I spoke about who I am, what my solutions are, and what I've already done. But all of that future great ideas go to the wayside unless we realize that ethics and values are the most important pillars of our elected officials. As a citizen like yourself, this is what we should demand from our elected officials. In everything I have done, I have always brought relentless hard work ethic with no excuses. As one raised in a farming community, we all know we can't make excuses, and we simply have to get it done, and get it done right. I've been in your seat, I've heard the hollow promises, and every year we seem to get disappointed. This is why I said at the opening, I'm not a politician, but I do promise to be a public servant. One that gets results and provides solutions. And for anyone that has ever been a client of mine, they'll tell you I actually answer the phone and fast. My door will always be open, and my phone will be ready for your call or text. You can learn more at voteforkevin.org, Kevin Burgess, or voteforkevin.org. God bless you, and thank you again for listening to my platform tonight. And I also want to thank all the gentlemen up here at this table today for jumping in and being public servants.
Thank you. Amador Castro, your closing statement, sir.
All right, one of the things I didn't mention, and I think it's relevant right now, is that I come from a family of migrant workers who taught me really early on what it was like to have a great work ethic. I had my first job when I was 13. I've been employed ever since because I work hard and I'm dedicated to what I do. Every opportunity that I see that comes my way, I take it because there's a lifestyle that I've seen before that I don't ever want to see again. So I am dedicated to everything that I do. I've always been a servant. It's why I went into teaching. It's why I do everything when I serve on different boards and stuff, like for my church or youth group or everything else. I've always been a servant, and that's something that I'm dedicated and passionate about. I keep myself available to people all the time. My parents, for the students that I work with, all have my cell phone number. They have contact with me anytime they need to, because I know that I can't follow a traditional schedule. People need to have access to me, and it's just how I live my life. People always have access to me, and that's one of the things that I want to continue to do when I get in office, is to make myself available to the people. That's why I said it would be my last year teaching if I get into office, because I want to make sure that this is going to be a full-time commitment for me. And so I just thank you for your time, and thank you for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you, sir. Rob Jones, your closing statement, sir.
Man, Alan, I wouldn't answer some of those other questions.
Those aren't your questions.
We don't get to be in front of the public very much, and I would like to be able to at least pass it through to you. But in closing, I've built strong partnerships with our county leaders. One of the questions was about working together, and associations of Grant County cities and towns, they meet. That's all the towns and cities in Grant County. And as a commissioner, I do go there. We do roundtables, sort of like this, but city-county type relationship, and we are very involved in that. Grant County is the land of opportunity. I came to Grant County just a young guy trying to figure out what I was doing. I knew I wanted to be I wrote lists and notes of who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do, and I slowly checked them off as I went, and I continue to do that as I sit here today. Grant County is the #1 producing county in the United States of potatoes. It's a top 3 location for data centers looking for new locations and expansion. We have Green Technology in Group 14, SELA, and probably more REC, more than I'm probably not thinking of, 12. We have aerospace, and we even have a rocket ship company in Grant County. So we have a lot going on. It's very diverse. It's an amazing place to be. It's a great opportunity for your kids, your grandkids. It's a great opportunity for me, and I'm very excited to be able to work in the county on the board as we go into the future. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight and staying, and remember to vote Rob Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Tom Flint, close statement, please.
Thank you. In closing, I ran out of time, but I would like to state that I'm a Vietnam era veteran, and it's important to me. I think what is really important is the future of Grant County. That's our kids, and the future that they have here. And so at the PUD, we've started a whole new apprentice program. Normally, you think of apprentices, they're linemen and they're folks that work at the dam, but we're taking it the next step. And that is, we want to grow our own. And so with help with Big Bend College, we're going to be developing some apprenticeships that are not traditional, I think is the way to say it. And the goal is to keep more of our folks here in Grant County and give them good wage jobs that they can be proud of and have a great living. And yep, the question is probably, why should you vote for Tom? Well, I have institutional knowledge. I'm the only commissioner that's relicensed the project with Wampum and Priest Rapids dams. I worked the way through fracturing the dam, and that was interesting. And so I think probably the knowledge that I have is something that benefits everybody, and I'm willing to serve. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flint. Robert Allen, closing statement, please.
Grant County, I've lived here for a while. I've lived on the east side of the state since 2020. My life's changed, being a union electrician and working in these data centers and, owning a home. And, I want that for all the people of Grant County. We have apprenticeship programs in the electricians union. I'm involved heavily in the building trades council, which is all the building trades and that the bring one up mentality of apprenticeship and keeping people here, and we have a union local, and it's that's how we bring people into the union, and we put them to work as apprentices. So there's a lot of opportunity here, and I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and do the work. I know Mr. Flint's been doing it for a long time, and I hope that if I'm elected, I can carry that torch as well. And I appreciate if you vote for me to do that.
Thank you. Since we are quite a bit ahead on time, I'm going to go ahead and allow Mr. Stessler to answer our questions. So, Mr. Stessler, what are your ideas to create positive impacts on today's inflation issue for a more stable future? You have 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Just for a moment, our timekeeping, when the yellow folder comes out, you have 30 seconds. And then when the red one hits, okay, 2 minutes, please.
So, the fourth district here, current Congressman Stan Newhouse, as you know, during his time in office, he has taken and voted for spending, which is the cause of inflation. We actually have a new commercial coming out where you're gonna be able to see this. It's taken it from $13 trillion to $35 trillion. And so the only cause of inflation is government spending. And they can talk about, you know, inflation numbers all they want, but the reality is long-term sustained inflation is not actually inflation, it's cost of living increase. And so what we've experienced over the last few years is a massive cost of living increase. You can have an inflationary period for, you know, 2 or 3 months, and you can recover from that. You can handle it personally, your business can recover. But if you're literally changing the face and the framework of our fiscal system, and you're doing it for multiple years, that's not inflation anymore, it's just cost of living increase. Everything goes up. And so, you know, to answer the question specifically, the only way you can curb inflation is to cut spending. When government spends lots of money, they essentially take your money, they steal your money. When you went out to dinner 5 years ago, for the two of you, let's say, it cost you $50. The tax on that, let's say, was 10%. The government gets $5. Now you go out to dinner and it costs you $100 for the same dinner. But guess what? The government's taxes are all based on percentage. And so now the government still gets their 10%, but that 10% is now $10 instead of $5 for the same goods. You see how that works? So inflation is a tax, and the government drives it through spending. And so the best way to stop it and to reverse it is to not spend. And I'll just end with this. None of us would operate our homes or our businesses in the way that Congress operates our budget for the country. And it's totally
Thank you, sir.
unacceptable and has to stop.
Thank you. Next question, what are your plans for border control and immigration?
So I've been to the border multiple times. One of the things that you have to realize is that we have a porous northern border as well as our southern border, and we have to deal with it. And the reality is, it isn't actually, let me just say this. Do you know of any laws that have changed? Has Congress acted on immigration or border security in the last 4 years? And the answer is no. It's exactly the same. And so what's actually happened is you have an executive branch, a chief executive officer named Biden, who has policies that have allowed our borders to be open. It's the same laws that were enacted when President Trump was in office, but then you have a new chief executive in the White House and they changed the policies. And so my challenge would be this: why do we give the chief executive the ability to thwart the laws just because they get elected as president? Last I checked, we all still have to follow the laws. And so I don't think that the president's policies should be able to thwart law. So essentially what he's doing is he's telling people, the Border Patrol, CBP, to stand down. You know, they have this executive order that he released that limits the crossings to something like 1,500 or 2,000 per day or something like. It's like, why would we legally allow, or supposedly through our policy, allow any illegal crossings per day? And so I would say, obviously we need to follow the law, but we need to deal with this when we, if you want to call it a fair election. I don't think the 2020 election was fair, but if we're going to put people into control in the White House that have the ability to affect policy that thwarts our law, I think we ought to stand against that. And I think that's something that Congress needs to act on.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna go way out the reservation here and give you 4 minutes for both your initial introduction and closing statements all in one.
Oh, good, thank you.
So, can you reset these? So we'll give you 4 minutes.
Yeah, sounds good, thank you. And again, thanks everybody for being here, but I wanna rib Rob for just a second, because he said, I came here when I was young, and I'm looking at him going, man, you're the only one up here that's young. You still got your whole life ahead of us. The rest of us have less days ahead than we have behind us.
Make it better for me.
Yeah, exactly, make it better for you. I was talking to a prominent member of your community today, and they were describing political personalities, and they basically said, there's 2 different types of people that we have the option to elect. We have the type of people that are looking to climb a ladder, and the type of people that are looking to do something good. And here's what's interesting about it is, both of those people could be good candidates. They could be good elected. There's nothing wrong with ladder climbing, that's America. But I'll just tell you, I don't want to ladder climb. I have no interest in ladder climbing. I'm trying to save our country more so than even just winning an election. And so, so just think about that when you're trying to elect people. And also, if you're trying to re-elect people, look at what have they really done for you? It's fine for them to ladder climb, but are they really doing the job that you elected them to do? Because I think that's one of the challenges that the populist movement is having a problem with in America today, is that too many elected are not doing the job that we elected them to do. This is we the people. The government ceases to exist if they don't have our consent. The Constitution is very clear in that. So let me just say, and I'm sure all of you have seen Dan Newhouse's attack ads that say I want to raise taxes by 30%, which is a complete and utter and total lie. So last week, Remington came out with a poll that showed me 14 points ahead of Dan Newhouse. He knows that. He knows he's losing this election, and the only way that he can save himself is to lie about me. And so I would have to ask you, and I'm standing right here telling you that I am not for raising taxes, and I'm going to substantiate it in just a second. But my point before I do that is, why would you want to re-elect someone or vote for someone whose position against another candidate is to lie about them? I don't think I would want to vote for somebody like that. I wouldn't want to re-elect someone who has to lie to stay in power. Now let me substantiate why, and so that you know that I'm not a pro-tax person. I'm 55 years old, I own my property. I'm completely frustrated and irritated beyond belief that I have to pay about $20,000 a year for my property and water rights just to be able to live there. I own the property, I don't have a mortgage. I totally disagree with those taxes. Okay, let me just take it even further, and you can go back through my entire history of running for Congress and you can see this. I think that the 16th Amendment and the 17th Amendment were two of the worst things that happened to America. The 16th Amendment is what essentially gave Congress the ability to tax us directly. The way the money is supposed to flow is Olympia gets together with our state legislatures, which we elect, and every month they decide how much money they're going to send to the federal government for the work that they provide. Well, what's the purpose of the federal government? If you read the Declaration of Independence, they're supposed to keep us safe and secure. So also the 16th Amendment breaks this responsibility. We want to give more authority, not more of our authority. We want to take authority from Washington, D.C. and put it in Olympia, and abolishing the 16th and the 17th Amendment do that. Is it seriously 3.5 minutes already? All right, I need another couple of minutes. So the 17th Amendment is the amendment that changed the way you elect your senators. So the senators are supposed to be elected, originally they were supposed to be elected by the state legislators that you sent to Olympia. Now they're elected by popular vote. I disagree with those fully and thoroughly, and I talk about that all the time in my campaign. One of the first steps is abolishing the IRS.
Thank you,
and
Mr.
getting rid of
Sessions.
excess taxation. So I'm happy to stick around to answer questions if you guys have them. Thank you for being here tonight.
And we have the room until 8 o'clock, so we're going to allow milling around and asking questions then. At this point, we're going to move on. We'd like to thank you, our candidates, for choosing to run for office this year and your willingness to serve the community. We welcome you to take a few minutes to speak one-on-one with the candidates this evening. However, we ask that you conclude your conversation by 8 o'clock. At this point, we'll kick you out of the building at that point. Thank you for your participation and attendance. Be sure to vote and encourage your friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors to do the same. You should receive your ballot in the mail in the next 2 weeks. There's an election drop box in the city parking lot behind the city annex, which can be accessed from Chestnut Street, or ballots can be returned by mail, postmarked on or before November 5th. Be sure to follow the instructions on the envelope to ensure a valid ballot is returned. This concludes our candidate forum. We'd like to thank tonight's sponsors, KWIQ, Columbia Basin Herald, and Moses Lake Chamber of Commerce. We wish you a nice evening, and I'd like to encourage candidates to show up for things not just during the election season, but the rest of the time as well. Thank you.